2 years ago, I quit my job to go full time on my women's clothing brand. And now I make about £500,000 a year, which is about $650,000 or so. Your creative ideas are truly the key to unlock your wealth. And I hope that by hearing my story and my journey, this inspires you to believe in yourself and to believe that you can. From when I was like 7 years old, I was like, I want to design clothes. I want to design clothes for women. This is what I want to do. And so I took a very traditional route. I studied fashion design with business studies at university. I done internships with really the plan that I am going to pursue this once I graduate. I'm going to get a job and learn more about the industry, but this is definitely something that I want to do. And having these internships, studying the actual craft of fashion design and pattern making and sewing just made me love this industry even more. Like the thought of being able to design something and then see it come to life just completely excited me, and it truly is a passion of mine. So once I graduated, I got a job working for a brand called Lacoste. Well, I was working in the product development team, which meant that I was really working with the factories, sourcing fabrics, and I loved it. It was great. It was like a very good first job. And working at Lacoste, it really gave me an insight into like, wow, just how much money you can make by having a fashion brand, a global fashion brand. And so the desire to have a fashion brand grew even stronger, especially because I was learning about business. I was learning about the design and production and the creative side to having a brand. And so I actually ended up entering into a competition, one of a local competition near where I lived at the time, and I won £5,000 to start my business. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to do this. It is time." At the time, I was really into luxury women's wear, and so I wanted my brand to be a luxury women's wear brand. And so that particular job came to an end, the contract came to an end. And so for me, I was like, right, this is the opportunity. I'm not going to try and look for another job. I am going to start my fashion brand. And so I made loads of samples. I done a photo shoot and I applied to be in this showroom in Paris. So I was going to be in Paris Fashion Week. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to make it. I'm so excited. This is my moment. The years of studying and working is going to pay off. And so, of course, I went to Paris Fashion Week and it was a complete flop. Um, the showroom was to attract buyers that have boutiques, department stores, that kind of thing. And no one bought my designs. Literally, I think I was showing the collection in Paris for about a week. No one bought the designs, and that was one of those moments. Like, I still remember feeling so low when I came back to England, and just feeling like I've completely like wasted this £5,000 just on samples. No one's bought anything. Like, I was I was crushed pretty much. I feel like I failed. I think I tried to like reach out to some people and to some brands, sorry, to some stores after I came back, but literally, guys, like, no one was interested in that particular collection. And so I had to go back to work, had to find a job because obviously I needed to pay my bills. And so I thought, right, I'm gonna find a job and I'm still gonna try and do this brand. But this time round, I am going to do it whilst I'm working. So I got a job and still working in the fashion industry. And I just thought to myself, I'm gonna really try and build this with like saving, putting money into it bit by bit. And that is what I did. I put quite a bit of my own money into doing it again. And you'd think that this time round it would work, and it didn't. I can look back now and see that I was very much creating product that was great to look at, great designs, maybe even kind of like art pieces, but they weren't very wearable. In a way, I was kind of designing things that I just felt like looked beautiful, but it didn't really consider the lifestyle of the customer. And so, again, I launched the second time round. I didn't know enough about the customer and it flopped. I think that time, I think I maybe got two sales, but pretty much, it was a failed idea. So still trying to build this brand. And it was at that point that I thought, you know what, this is not working. Like, I really, really want to have this brand, but I'm going to take a break from it and I'm just going to focus on my career. So that is what I did. I want to say I took about 3 4 years where I just did not work on Bemi. I just focused on learning more about the fashion industry, and I was just going to try and grow within my career, trying to enjoy my life more. Looking back, it was a great time. Like, I made great friends, I got to travel for work, and I really enjoyed that time of my life. It was then that I got what I'd say was one of my favorite jobs. I worked for a brand called Fiorucci that was really, really aligned to the kind of brand that I wanted to create. And so I really loved that job because, again, I got to travel. The product was really inspiring. Like, I was around, photo shoots and campaigns and got to see all these amazing factories and techniques and clothes. That was really, really inspiring. And so I think I was there for, I think it was maybe by like year two is when I really started to get that itch again, that real kind of strong desire and almost frustration that, like, I really want to have my own brand. Like, it was all I could think about, especially because I was in such a creative environment. And so I was daily just getting so many creative ideas. I was able to see like where the gap was and where my brand could fit in and how I would do things differently. And so I'm thinking about it, but I'm not really moving. But I know that soon I need to pick this back up. And then lockdown happened. And I was on furlough during lockdown. So I was still getting paid to basically do nothing, which was a really, really great time. I can't lie. And at the time, my sister, she was a makeup artist on the side. And she'd grown her page to a good amount and she was making a living, she was getting clients and getting bookings through social media. So she really understood kind of how to grow a social media page and grow content. And she saw kind of my passion and what I wanted to build with Bemi. And she was like, we need to do this together. Because at the time, she kind of didn't want to do makeup anymore and wanted to have something, physical product. And then we decided to do this together. We decided that, right, we were going to start this brand together. And so during lockdown, this is when we really started to do things differently this time. This time round, I done a branding course and I really learned about my customer. I learned about the position that my brand was going to be in. So it was no longer going to be luxury fashion. Now it was going to be a lot more affordable. And learning about branding gave me insight into choosing brand values that were going to attract the right people to my brand. It was a really good, thorough course. But the real unlock came because this time around, I spoke to women that actually had fashion brands. And there was a particular conversation that I had with a fashion brand owner, and she said to us, before you start your brand, you need to share what you're doing on TikTok. And at the time, I was like, TikTok, like, isn't that for kids? Like, you know, What's that about? But we listened to her advice and we began to share our ideas on TikTok. We were documenting the whole process, telling people that we're about to start this brand, and we started building an audience. People were really engaged and they loved the ideas that we were putting out there. They were signing up to our email list. The comments were so positive. They're like, oh my gosh, I love this. I can't wait. And, bit by bit, my confidence was growing. And I really felt like, wow, okay, this time round, we are actually going to have an audience before we even launch. We're getting feedback in real time. People are loving the designs. And so it was just validation after validation. And it really gave me that confidence to make the samples, to go into production and actually launch a third time round, because I had lost a lot of confidence. I was very fearful that, it would flop again. Um, but what I'd say here is the biggest kind of shift as to why I'd say it worked the third time is because of that learning, that education, going to people that already had a brand, that were doing what I wanted to do, and getting advice from them. If I had not had that conversation with that particular fashion brand owner, I would have definitely not started a TikTok. I would have probably just launched the brand, hoping, praying that people are going to buy into it this time. And so I would strongly advise you that if you feel like you really want to start a fashion brand, a women's fashion wear brand, it's all you think about, it consumes you and you just have this burning desire, go and speak to the people that have a brand, learn from them, get their advice, whether it's a book, it's a coaching program, courses. This is really going to help you to make the correct moves in order to make it happen. Now, the good thing is, I have a coaching program called Wear Your Dreams, where I meet with my students every 2 weeks, and I get to answer their questions. I get to share what's happening in the industry and help them build their brand. So, if this aligns with you, check out the link in the bio. And if not, I beg you, please, before you launch, make sure that you are educating yourself. So, August 2021, we relaunched the brand for a third time and we made about 4K, I believe, on day one, which for me was just amazing. Like, I just remember feeling like, finally, this time it is going to work. People have bought. We've got emails, we've got a community that we're building, and we actually made money. And at the time, that was more than my monthly salary. So I was very gassed. Like, I was so happy. And then from that moment forth till now, we have been building year on year, growing. It has not been an easy journey. Like, guys, although we did well on day one, after that, I want to say for a good few months we did not get any sales, and it was really a product issue. I think people love the idea. We got kind of like the first tranche of people that really loved the brand and they were sold with the story. But in terms of actually scaling that particular drop, it just was not possible. People were not buying beyond that first day. It was like a sale here and there. And we came to just discover that it was really a product issue. I kind of fell into that mistake I made the second and first time round, which was designing things that were great to look at, but they weren't necessarily wearable with most people. Most people couldn't include these pieces that I had designed into their lifestyle. They wouldn't wear it to dinner, they wouldn't wear it for their date night or their birthday or even on holiday. And so it became quite hard for us to grow that particular drop, and we were left with some stock. But it was still a great lesson learned, and I think even after that happening again, we educated ourselves, we learnt more. I went back to learning more about the customer, looking at trends, looking at my competitors, seeing what people were actually wearing it. So then by collection two, the second drop, that is when the shift really, really came through. And we got one of our best selling tops from that particular drop. Influencers started wearing it, our content started going viral. And from that moment, we kind of, I think that year, I want to say that was about 2022, 2023, we made just under 100K, and then went to 300K, and then now it's like that 500K, and we're just continuing to grow year on year, which, it's been this really nice, steady pace of growth, of learning. And when I look back, I'm like, wow, 3 failures. So, sorry, 2 failures, a lot of mistakes made in between, this now Bemi, the brand that I have kind of today. I can tell you it is so worth it to be able to bring my creations to the world and make a living, earn a very good income from that is so valuable. The skills that you will learn when you embark on this journey, the marketing, the branding, design, there's just so many elements. And I think from a young age, I knew that I wanted the work that I do to be something that I was truly passionate about, that I would be able to get up every day in love with my work, in love with what I do. And I can tell you that is definitely the case. And so it is a path worth journeying on. And so I hope that this has made you see that if you go on this path, you decide that, you know what, I want to do this, you can absolutely earn a very good income from it. And more important than that, you can do work that is fulfilling. Like, I can tell you, doing having this brand is so fulfilling. You feel so aligned with your actual purpose, and you're proud of what you do, and it is so rewarding seeing people wear the clothes, seeing people, just give us so much good feedback on how much they love the brand. So if you feel aligned, if you feel like you are ready to start your brand in 2026, but you need the help, you want to do it the right way, you want to do it with mentorship and coaching, then I would love to see you in Wear Your Dreams. The link and all the details is in the description. And for everyone else, I really hope that this has inspired you to believe in yourself, to try again. Perhaps you have tried this before and it didn't work out. Go again, learn from your mistakes, and try again. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you think. And let me know if you have any questions on all things fashion. And I hope to see you soon, guys.